What's up, everybody? It's the ATJ Sports Realm YouTube channel back here again. I'm the host of today's program, Alex, and I just kind of wanted to give my take on the first couple days of the NBA playoffs and my overall thoughts stemming from those games. So essentially what the first couple days of the playoffs has shown me is that the NBA is wide open this year. There's not a consensus favorite like there was in so many previous seasons. In years past, it used to be, okay, Golden State's the best team. What team can challenge Golden State? This year, it is wide open. We have no idea. All the top teams have issues, and there's really no team that I see where I think to myself, they're the best team, or they're a matchup nightmare for anybody else. I was watching the game last night between the Clippers and Mavericks, and it just made me think about, let's take a look down at some of the top seeds in each conference and talk about the issues they're having. So several weeks ago, I made a video talking about the NBA restart in Orlando, and I gave my predictions and teams who I thought were considered a championship contender. Those three teams were the Milwaukee Bucks, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Los Angeles Clippers. Let's take a look at what the LA Clippers, Lakers, and Bucks have all done in this restart. Well, the Bucks find themselves currently down 1-0 to the Magic at the time of recording this video. The Lakers find themselves down 1-0 to the Trailblazers. And the Clippers find themselves in a stalemate with the Dallas Mavericks in a series tied 1-1. And issues have been noticed with all of these teams right away. For example, the Lakers. Historically awful three-point shooting. Couldn't buy one. They were getting all kinds of open looks, and they had shots going off the side of the backboard. Big problem. It's been a problem. Defensively, not that great either. And just really wildly inconsistent when they play. You're watching these guys play. Defensively, it seems like they take a lot of plays off. Just lack of bodies to throw. It's just a mess for me. And I think they'll get it together because I trust LeBron, and I think Anthony Davis is a great player as well. But it's a mess to me right now. Let's look at the Bucks. I mean, what can you say? You're playing against the Orlando Magic, and you're down 1-0. All this talk about Giannis possibly leaving in the offseason, I think that's got to be amplified after a loss to the Magic like that. And obviously, there's still time to salvage it. You know, if the Bucks win the championship, I don't think he's leaving, or if they even make a good run to the finals. But if you go out in the first round of the Magic, those voices saying that Giannis is going to leave, I think they get louder. And let's talk about the LA Clippers. Well, pretty consistently with how his last few playoff runs have gone, Paul George has completely disappeared. He has been a non-factor for the Clippers and just really hurt them offensively. He's just not been good. I mean, point blank has not been good. They've had a few injuries as well. People always talk about, well, Patrick Beverley didn't play. And I heard a good point on a radio show this morning that was like, you know, if you're talking about the Clippers' depth and Patrick Beverley is your excuse for not winning the game when he's your fifth or sixth best player, I think that's a problem. And also, Kawhi Leonard does not seem to be taking defensive strategies that seriously. He's great offensively, but in the body language is just really poor by the Clippers. I mean, it's really poor. They don't look like they want to be there for most of the game. And then they're like, okay, we're going to turn it on. And then when the Mavericks score on you, it's deflating because you're like, okay, we're taking it serious now. And then the Mavericks' second team is out there cooking you. When you got Trey Burke and Seth Curry going off, I think there's a big problem. It's more of an internal issue with their approach to the game. And it's really cost them in this series. And really, they could be down 2-0 because they got their doors blown off last night. And in the previous game, I think that if Kristaps doesn't get ejected, it could be a different story and they could find themselves down 2-0, and that'd be a real wake-up call for them. And then you can just look down the line and see all the other teams. Toronto, they looked pretty shaky in the beginning of the game against the Nets yesterday, but I think they're going to get through the first round okay. And then teams like the Celtics. Okay, the Celtics have injuries now. Gordon Hayward's injured again, but they look good for the most part. The Miami Heat and Indiana Pacers are kind of looped in together. They could both be very good, but we're just going to have to see how that series ends out. And then the 76ers are dead in the water. No Ben Simmons. They had a big lead yesterday at the start of the game, and then Joel Embiid's body language was terrible at the end of the game. He just looked like he didn't want to be there. And you can just keep going down the list. We already talked about the Nets and Magic. It's the same thing on the West, too. I think the team that has looked the best in their one game is Houston, but we'll have to see how they play today. OKC, again, they're in there, but they did not look very good without playing against Houston without Russell Westbrook yesterday. So there's definitely a mixture of teams. I think the Nuggets-Jazz series has been excellent. Some of the best games of the playoffs so far. I just don't know who of those teams I trust more. The 7 seed Mavericks we've talked about, and the Blazers. Those are both teams that are criminally underseeded. So ultimately, I think it's wide open, and any team could win this thing. I really do think that. Any team could potentially win this finals. This is the year, if you're a team like Portland or Indiana or whoever, this is the year that you would win the championship because there's just so much going on. I think the rest has provided players all kinds of opportunity to get healthy, and I think no travel dates makes it easier, and the games are coming out every other day. All around, I've been very impressed by what the NBA has done here. I was a little bit skeptical, the first couple games because I was like, no fans, and I was kind of having a hard time getting into it. But now when you realize there's no fans, you can just appreciate the basketball for what it is. These are incredible games, and if you have not checked out the NBA, I would recommend watching a game because it has just been provided a lot of entertainment. If you like basketball, check out the NBA because I know it sounds so funny. It's like, yeah, if you like basketball, check out the best basketball league in the world. But it's true, and even with no fans, it is some of the most entertaining product on television today. So, with that being said, I want to thank you all for listening to this video. I just kind of wanted to get my thoughts on the first couple days of the playoffs and talk about how wide open the NBA really is and say that it's going to be interesting to see what happens down the stretch. I would not be at all surprised if anybody wins the championship, besides maybe like the Nets or Magic. I mean, it's a great opportunity, and I much prefer this to, the Warriors are just going to win it every year. Like I said, thank you all for listening. If you like what you heard today, maybe check out the channel. I do all kinds of different reaction videos, quiz videos, and everything in between. So if you like us, maybe like this video and give a subscribe to the ATJ Sports Realm YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video.